And it's something, if I talk about these cornerstones and challenges, it's trust. To trust yourself. In my professional life, I was trained not to trust anything. As a risk manager, as a banker, it was told that trust is good, but control is much better. So I think that many of you, like me, were trained in school by their parents. It's not so much to trust. I'm not even talking about trusting your intuition. But it's really to rationally prepare for everything. From my own experience again, I came to the realization that that doesn't really work in the end. And even many other bankers and risk managers lately discovered that it doesn't work. Trust is something that you cannot rationally do. You cannot do it with your mind. And what we see around us the last months, last year, is incredible change. Incredible change. And many of the professionals that are out there working, that were trained to deal with that, will tell you that they have basically given up. They have no clue about how to deal with that situation. Now, I've had those experiences myself where I tried to prepare myself. And one of the things was, for instance, when I accepted the job of Chief Operating Officer of Crimson Circle. I thought that I had it prepared, that I was prepared. Well, it was quite an experience. Quite an experience. And I wouldn't have missed it for the world. But over the past 2 years, I started to discover for myself that in the end, it's all coming back to trust. Simple trust. Now, how can you build that trust? It's quickly said, oh, you have to trust your intuition, but how do you do that? Well, this is perhaps not the part you want to hear, but it's through experience. Those damn experiences that you have every day. That will lead to trust. But many times you forget the first part that we talked about in this little journey, awareness. You've taken so many things for granted that you're not aware that you can trust yourself. You can trust the energies around you. And when things are not working, then it becomes particularly important to use the second tool. Besides choice, the best tool to deal with issues of trust is to breathe. And I invite you to go to a moment in your life which was particularly difficult for you, and you try to rationally work it out, whatever situation. Just go back to that point in your life. And perhaps when you observe what you were doing at the time, is that you feel yourself running in circles. You couldn't think your way out. Now just stay with that feeling. And now take a deep breath. Just a deep breath. It will dissolve the need to rationally think a way out. And you are able to connect with your own trust that one way or another, things will work out. Probably many of you have had the same experience as I have, that there were certain moments in your life that it was very challenging and difficult, and that you basically had given up to find a solution. And that's when something incredibly happens. The moment you give up, you let go, things start to work for you. And perhaps you can remember those situations where things almost magically started to resolve themselves. And if you don't remember one now, just in the next couple of days or weeks, sit down and take a little moment for yourself. Reflect upon your own life, and you will find moments where things started to work out in a great way, in an unexpected way. A beautiful example is what happened to my partner Yvette. We were supposed to move out of our house because our lease was up as the house is for sale. But circumstances are not that favorable for people that want to sell a house, although you still see houses being sold. But we did prepare for moving out. And my plan was to start traveling. I didn't want to settle anywhere. And she said, okay, I'll find a place on my own. And the last months, she was very busy looking on the internet to find a new place. But something was interesting to observe. Actually, she didn't want to leave the place we have right now. We gave her notice that we would move out the middle of September to the owners, and they came over from New Zealand for a summer holiday, and they visited us. And we started to discuss, and it was funny because Yvette was very clear about what she wanted. And I said, well, I don't know if it will happen, but you are a creator. Let's see what will happen. And totally unexpectedly, these people said, oh, we would hate to see you go. We feel so comfortable with you in the house, Yvette. Would you consider to stay? And she said, well, to be very honest, I couldn't pay this wonderful house all by myself. My partner is going to travel. So I'm sorry, I love the place, but I couldn't simply afford it. And then they said, you know what could you afford? Can you imagine the owner of a house that is renting asking you, what can you afford to stay in the house? It's a simple example how you can trust your own creatorship. That's the second stop of this little journey. Is to really start to trust yourself as a creator. You can do it.